John Wayne B.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, look. Too hot to hate us, no they can't fade us. Headed to the top, just stay tuned for the latest. Soon as the episode drop, they gotta play us. All I know is we got the flavor.
What's up? It's your boy Los LOS from the Flavor Podcast. You are watching and listening to the Flavor Podcast Network. And I want to say what's up to myself, but my partner's here. What's up, Sully?
Oh my God, that sounded like an old school radio.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
It did a little bit, right?
I'm like, whoa, right for the holidays.
Awesome. Hey, Sully, you know what I noticed?
What?
It's been back to back. You've been at the pod.
I know. It's been...
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. How's your week been?
It's been good. Busy holiday season. Have you done your shopping?
I have done very little shopping. I need to get it. I need to get it done. I really need to get it
Same
done.
here.
So you got most of the kids or no?
We're getting there.
So are you a parent that spends a lot of money on the kids, or you just buy a lot of little things?
I'd rather just do one big thing instead of a whole bunch of little things. Makes the easing a lot easier. And then now they got creative because they started using these apps for their gift lists.
Okay.
So my niece had a very nice organized app that showed me exactly the website, the size, and everything that she needed, prices, everything. So it was just a click away. So her shopping got done.
Okay.
So I'm encouraging the others to kind of get it together. It made it so much simpler. Just a couple clicks, and hopefully the packages get here soon.
You know, I'm a little bit different when it comes to that. I don't want people to know what I'm buying them. I don't want people to tell me what they want. I want to get you what I want to get you.
Oh my God.
It's like I want to figure it out. Sometimes this doesn't work, especially with my daughter. She's like, no, Bob. I'm like, take the gift, man.
But it's the thought. It's
my daughter's so hard.
So
she's so hard. She's not into electronics anymore, right? She's not a kid no more. She's 21. So it's just hard. I'm thinking purses or earrings.
Yeah.
She don't want none of that stuff. She's not girly whatsoever.
Oh my God.
And I tried with the Coach purses and all that stuff. She's like, oh, thanks, Bob. I'm looking at her face like she doesn't even want that.
She's probably like, oh, I got another Coach.
I'm looking around for a girly girl in the family, right? A little prissy girl. Here you go. This is for you. Here's some cash, Leah. Just give Leah some cash.
Usually that's what they want. That's why I asked for the list. It makes it so much easier, but it does take away the essence of surprise and then the thoughtfulness from it.
Yeah.
But I don't got time for that.
Yeah. No, my mom's the same way. My mom tells me every year what she wants. I'm like, no, Mom. I'm like, and every year I don't get it for her. I do not get it. I get something else. Don't tell me what you want me to buy you. It's supposed to be a gift. It's a surprise. No, you're not going to tell me what you want. No, here's some pair of socks like you used to give me.
Oh, man. That's the worst.
Hey, they're Calvin Klein. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because my mom always tells me, oh, get something that I need. And now all of a sudden she's like, oh, I need a Chanel number 5. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know why, though. I know why she wants that, dog. Because you work in a certain store now.
Oh, my God. Oh, no, it's been like that before.
Oh,
She's
really?
just seen like, oh, my kids have businesses. No, you guys can get a little more creative. And it's like,
You
no.
want a faja? Mom, I got fajas.
Yeah, no, she don't want those gifts. I was like, Mom, that helps me out. And
Yeah, I tried to give my mom a flavor shirt. She was like, no.
she's like, I get that for free. No.
Literally. Walk in here, go to the back, go in the box, grab it, and go home.
Right?
And
I should give my mom a gift certificate for her eyebrow. She'll be like, what do you mean? I just show up and you do it.
Not this time, Mom.
Not this time.
Yesterday's prices are
This
not
one
today's
comes
prices.
with thought and a price tag.
Oh, wow. So talk about eyebrows. Are you retired? Are you still in it?
I'm actually getting somebody in that's going to be taking over.
So you're still in it?
A little bit.
So I was like, no, you say, but
No new clients. I'm still in it for my old clients.
Okay.
And once I find somebody to pass them over, so I have somebody starting. Once I feel she's ready, I'm gonna have her take over my clients, and I will finally retire from microblading.
Okay. So are you training them or no?
Chanel's gonna train them. So my trainer is the one that's gonna train them.
Okay.
So I don't train or anything. I teach under her. You know,
Okay.
keep my level.
Okay. Because I know you wanted to find someone that already knew how to do it.
Yes.
and not
So,
just learn.
Yeah, I have somebody that's coming in starting. She's going to start learning she's going to take her training with Chanel and start with her. And then once she's ready, then I'll finally be able to pass on the baton.
Okay. And this is going to be at your storefront?
Yep, at my storefront.
Okay.
But right now, she's going to be starting with the body contouring. So we're adding on more to the whole holistic weight loss services.
So the body contouring. So it's more than the fajas that you have at the studio that you have over there.
Yep.
It's more than eyebrows that you do over there.
Yep.
It's more than the C-balls that you do over there. It now is body contouring.
Body contouring.
Can you tell the viewers if
So
they don't know
body
what that is?
contouring is kind of working with the skin. When we're losing weight, flaccid skin is a whole other issue. So it has to be handled differently, but at the same time as you're going through the weight loss process. So a lot of us girls, we don't want to have saggy skin after we lose weight. So body contouring, lifting weights, all of that can help you kind of tone up the skin a little bit more. So once you finish the finish line, you're not worried about another issue or anything else that you want to handle.
So you're kind of cornering the market. So you got the fajas, right?
I'm just thinking
the
of an
waist
overall
trainers.
thing. I'm just thinking about that finish line. Like, I just want to get there and not have to worry about anything else. You know, I just got to eat right, hit the gym, drink my water, eat my sea moss, and keep on moving and live. That's it. I don't want people to have to worry about like, oh, well, now I have another goal. I got to get rid of this skin. Because that's what happened to me. I didn't know what I know now then. So then I had to have my tummy tuck to get rid of the flaccid skin because I didn't know how. I just wanted to get skinny. And then I learned all of these things. And I'm like, you know what? Let's look at things a little differently. We work and implement other things like get you a personal trainer, start lifting weights, start strength training. Body contouring is going to work with that connective tissue between your muscle and your skin, along with like, the CMOS, help get that gut going, make sure you have all your nutrients and your vitamins. And then the faja is just going to kind of seal the whole package together and help you get there a lot faster.
Okay. So when you were doing it, you said you didn't do it the way you're doing it now, the way you're teaching now. Did you offer like workout classes for people, or did you recommend them to go somewhere?
I would recommend them because I wasn't a personal trainer or anything. I honestly don't feel comfortable if I don't have certain licensing or certain things. I don't like to dabble in it. So I am getting my NASMs. I'm still debating, so don't ask me for no personal training or anything just yet because I don't know if I want to do it. But I'm going to finish these classes just to have it there in case one day I do want to utilize it.
Okay.
But right now, I'm like, I have a lot on my plate, and I'm focusing on certain little things that I want to kind of finish before we get into other things. But in the meantime, I do have reps that are personal trainers. So it makes it easy. It's like, oh, well, now I can pass you on to Caroline. Caroline also sells CMOS and the waist trainers, and she's a personal trainer. On top of that, she also had her weight loss. She kind of helped tone her skin with lifting weights. Now she can take you onto that journey. So that's why I'm very strategic on who I bring into the company and how to place them, because now I can get my customer. And it's kind of like, that's why it reminds me of the bank card lady, different personalities, how to talk to that person. I was like, oh, it's like kind of like what I do with my sales reps. I find my client, I'll be like, you're more of a B type of girl. So why am I going to scratch my head and sell to you? Hey, come and meet Miss B. She's out in the Midway area, might be closer to you. She can definitely, her story is similar to your story, and then they connect. So now I'm not struggling for the sale. They just became BFFs, and she's always going to go to be for her fajas because she feels comfortable.
Does that all connect to you at the end?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. I see it. That's good stuff. Now I was going to ask you, with the body contouring, I don't have it because my arms are pretty good. I'm a bus driver, so I work with these arms all day. But with women, women got that flap. Sometimes they hate so much. You know what I'm saying? And we could do like that kind of thing with it. Does
It
body
does.
contouring help
It
that?
all depends on where they're at. If it's already detached from the muscle, then surgery is your only option. If it's still attached to the muscle, we're starting. That's why I've mentioned before, I like to get them when they're starting, they're at their biggest, everything's still, because when you're big, you're still kind of tight a little bit. And as you're losing the weight, that's when we start seeing that flaccidness in the skin. So I want to kind of start the journey there, get you in the fajas, get you with the body contouring, get you with the personal trainer. And then you're going to see a difference in your progression. We had one girl that did it pretty good, and she's had a really good success story. B actually has the good before and afters of when she did her. She also worked on that part of her arm. She's the reason why we have the arm fajas. So she did body contouring.
Wait, you got arm fajas? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Yep, just to kind of hold into that area.
What does that look like?
Kind of like a bra with sleeves.
like a bra, like with the little snaps and everything.
But they're in the front instead of the back because it covers your whole entire back too.
Oh.
So if there's anything here, like it's overall just where we think about just like if it's too tight here, it might cause an issue here. So the whole back's covered.
Okay.
So it gives you a nice compression.
Cool. So if you guys did not know about that stuff, you just found out. We're just talking here. We get into talks about, I get interested in things. I think about my wife all the time and what she might need or whatnot. Not the thing, babe. I wasn't talking about you. You don't have to whatsoever. You're beautiful. You're
beat up, you guys.
Right. We'll come back with a black eye next week.
All of a sudden you're going to see a filter on collarbones.
Right. Girl's got eyelashes for her. But we're here almost at the end of the year. You know, next week is Christmas, and after that we're going to be celebrating New Year's.
Yep, 2025.
What are you looking forward to in the new year?
I have a couple of plans for the new year. There's a lot of changes that I made this last quarter. So just trying to see how those play out. And then we turned 10 years old on January 3rd.
Awesome.
So Dollar Revolution turns 10 years old. So we are, and that's going to be when, I haven't came out with the date yet, but we're going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. And that's when I'm going to do the final unleash. On our 8-year anniversary, I unleashed the new brand, the new logo, which is the one that you see right here. Is it here? Somewhere this way. And this year, we went go ahead and showed what the store looks like.
Right.
And now at the end of this year, it's showing the whole new packaging, the whole new final collection in line, and then just piecing everything together, the store, the logo, the new packaging. It's the final product. And then now we can finally start trying to take this concept everywhere else. Cool. So my next thing from here is going to see B Shop and recreating my store in her stores.
That's dope.
Because she has a second location too, so now she's at the back of the yard. So not only just me growing, but also watching my team grow. I can't be everywhere at once, so sometimes I'll find opportunities, and then I'll just be like, look, I appreciate this. I want to be here, but I'm not going to be here, but I have the perfect person that can definitely be here.
Right.
So either whoever is within the vicinity or whoever I feel is ready to take on more tasks, that's when I'm going to start pushing them to do more things. And B knows, like, I'm constantly always pushing her, like, hey, where's that website? Hey, where's this? Don't send them to me. Oh, you must not want money. You must not want extra this and that, because I'll show her the numbers. I'm like, look, this is what you missed out on. Where's your website? Where's this? Where's Hey, get the second location. Yeah, don't be scared. I know, because sometimes it is scary. And, you know, she has me, she has the rest of the team, and sometimes you just need that little extra push on to just...
So what's for you? What do you want in 2005 that's not entrepreneurship? Because we talk a lot about entrepreneurship on this podcast.
Spending more time with my family.
There you go.
Because I have my goals and everything, but dropping off my daughter at school kind of opened up a whole set of new feelings that I've never felt before.
Talking about your daughter that dropped off at college.
Yep, at college. Yeah. Dropped her off at college, and that was like, oh my God, that's my first one to leave the nest. Right. And that was reality. And that just made me realize how fast time goes and how much we have to appreciate every single second. So that's why all these little changes is pulling me, just taking me off the front line and pushing me more to the background. And now it's time to let the rest of the team take on the company and see what they do with it.
So you want to relax a little bit.
Yeah, I want to be at the same time lead.
That'll be nice. That'll be dope. So for me, 2025 entrepreneurship wise, do more podcast Yeah. So I'm holding, I'm teaching classes here at the Flavapodcast studio starting in January. So I started that up.
We got new members.
Yes. We got new members. We got new members on the pod. Yeah, on the network. Get ready for Chicago Podcast Summit. Hopefully my mentor will come down because he said he would. If he's watching right now, David Shands. Hopefully he'll come down and speak. And personally, I I think I just want to travel.
Yeah,
I want to go back to Spain. My wife hates it when I say Spain.
Oh, he needs another pair of boots. I'm going to tell y'all why, though. I'm going to tell y'all why. Because the last ones make his feet hurt. He be there like us with our heels like,
I do need those person about 5 years old when I bought them in Spain, so I need a pair. But I miss Spain. I'm in Spain. I want to go to different parts of Spain. Magala is the one I really want to go to because it's southern Spain, so it's more tropical.
oh,
So I haven't been really around tropical in Spain. I've been upper. So yeah, definitely.
That's
go to Spain,
dope.
hang out with my boys and hopefully get 2 weeks over there.
and have cocktails at the beach over there.
Actually, what I like to do is going to old churches out there. That's my thing. That's my thing. It's like they're like medieval, so they're pretty cool, man.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And just spending time with the family, and whatnot,
And the dog, Patches.
and Patches. Yeah, my little Patches, which is little brats, little brats. But hey, so what is your hot topic for today?
Oh my God. So I had to decide, but my curiosity brings me into, have you been paying attention to those drones that they're talking about in New Jersey?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
don't
it's
think-
just all over TikTok.
She's talking about it. Come get her.
No, but for real, what's going on with that? Like,
Uh-huh.
I just seen that they just started responding. So the government's saying that it's just a mixture of like commercial drones and regular people and everything. But I don't know.
I think they're saying a little bit more than that, though.
I saw something about they're coming out of the ocean.
I did not hear that.
Yeah,
I did
but then
not hear
again,
that one.
TikTok, you guys, TikTok.
I did not. I did hear from a spokesman from the White House saying there are some government drones out there. They're just doing what do you call it?
Spying on us.
They're not. Well, maybe, but they're just doing like drills or whatnot. I'm saying.
Oh, that's what they're calling it.
Yeah. They said not to worry about it, and there are some other drones out there that are just personal. People have.
I don't
these
know,
drones
but
or
when
whatnot.
the government tells me not to worry about it, for some reason, I just want to worry about it.
Someone said they're out there and they're scanning houses to see if they could find
Oh
out
my
how
God,
many
what is
people in
that
the
Tom
house.
Cruise movie? It's making me think of, what is it, Born Identity or something like
Something
that?
like that, yeah. But hey, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. It's a new administration coming in 2025, so
Oh,
you never know
man.
what's going on. You're just like
It's been Jumanji since COVID.
Jumanji. That's a good one. Yeah, so 2025 is gonna look different than our other years that we lived. I figured my latter years I'll be having about 20 years left to live, maybe 25 more years. It's true, men die around 72, 76 years old. So hopefully I'll pass that, but
Are you taking your CMOS?
taking my CMOS, yes, definitely taking my CMOS. But it
You'll
does,
be okay.
It does worry me about how are my, because I have more years behind me than I have in front of me now, right? That's
Yeah.
just facts. I'm 51
Yeah.
years old. I got more years behind me now. What are my next 25 years going to look like? What is the world going to look like? What are relationships going to look like? It's going to...
Yeah, because things have changed and it's been really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really fast. That it's kind of like, it's hard to keep up at times.
Yeah, and technology is
Or I
going.
might be getting old. I don't know.
I'm feeling old. My knee's hurting every day. Every day.
I thought I heard something the other day, but I'm like, no, I don't think so.
So you think the government's spying on us?
Probably, because that's just weird. There's been sightings, and why take so long to say something?
Yeah. And I heard today, did I hear or read? I read it. I think I read it. There's over 1 million drones out there. Registered drones. Now, there could be small ones or there could be big ones. The ones there people are saying they're SUV size. That's what they were saying? Yeah, SUV
Wow.
size. So there's someone manning them. There's someone inside of them. So there's the remote control ones, and there's one with a person.
So we
inside
have
of it.
officially flying cars.
Oh, we've been having those for a while, yeah.
Oh my God. Where do you get one? Because there's traffic in Chicago.
But can you imagine? Can you imagine like Star Wars, right? You see them going around in the air all the time, right? All these vehicles, and whatnot. We don't know how to fly these things. Can you imagine all these drones in the air? People have one. They're gonna be crashing. They're gonna be crashing. They're gonna be falling out of the sky.
I could see that happening.
Right. So the FFA got to do something about that. They got to figure that out.
Great. Now we're going to have flying police pulling us over and giving us tickets.
The Jetsons.
Oh my God. They do give tickets in the boat too. My dad, I got one. And I was like, how do you get it? He was like, he said my waves were too high, so I got a speeding ticket. I'm like, on the water? How they find you?
They'll find them.
Yeah, they do.
They'll find them.
Obviously.
Yeah, definitely. So my hot topic it's a sad one because it's happening too much. The school shooting that happened in Wisconsin, in Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, wow, I didn't
where
hear
two
about
were
that.
dead in a Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin. My thing is I don't mind people having guns, but if you have a gun, you should be registered. You should be mentally okay to have a gun.
Yes.
Just not like, Texas and Florida right now where you can just pick one up.
Yeah, I'm pro to have your gun, but I do agree that we do need to do a little more. I feel like it's easily passed out. Maybe a little more background, maybe psychological test, or just something. Just
I don't
to
know
give
how
it
they
like,
would do a psych test.
yeah, or if there's anything in the background,
Right.
or
Something going on in their lives where they were, in a hospital for a while. Yeah, check mark, red check mark.
Yeah, red flag.
You killed your brother by mistake or something, whatever it is, I'm saying.
Something.
Or you wanted to commit suicide or something like that. Because this was a 12-year-old girl that committed these murders.
Oh, wow.
12-year-old girl.
How did she get that?
Must be with her parents. Not locked. It should be. I mean, there's no information right now on how she got the gun.
Yeah.
But where would she get a gun other than home? With somebody else's house. Guns are not just
That's
laying around.
crazy.
And then she came to the school with intentions of doing that. So it's pretty sad. They got to get control of these guns. Here in Chicago, it's crazy. It's bananas out here.
Yeah.
You could get a gun at any street corner on the west side or south side of Chicago easily. All I got to do is mention I need a gun. As long as you got money, you're going to have a gun.
That is true.
So they need to get a hold of this stuff. I don't know how Madison, Wisconsin is with guns, but I just know this 12-year-old little girl just killed 2 people.
That's crazy that you're hearing school shootings happen more and more often.
And all they could do is say, my thoughts and prayers are with them.
Yeah.
Like that helps. That doesn't help. And that's been since forever. My thoughts and prayers. No, we need action. We need action. We can make sure these people that are not quite all there not to have a gun and get some help. So that was
I completely agree with you. That's always been something that it's like, maybe just I don't know the answer, but something that just requires a little more background check before you just hand it out to anybody. But then it's just questions like, how did she get it? Where did she get it? It's so many questions.
Even if you have a gun, it's like, lock it up. Make sure that thing's locked up. Make sure your kids don't know the code.
Yeah.
Make sure they don't know where the keys are at. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know what your kid. I think parents know what their kids are going through, but sometimes you don't.
Because sometimes they tend to hide it. Well, you have an idea something's bothering them, and sometimes asking them, it's like, like, oh Lord, I made it worse.
That sounds like it. I love you. No.
Yeah. They explode into that monster talk.
I just said I love you, man.
I know.
So did he. Well, today, this is a good segment to segue to go to the next to our guest, but we're not going to do that because we're about to go to commercial. See you in 2 minutes. Bye-bye. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Los. And if you're trying to be on our podcast, you can reach us at Flavapodcastnetwork. If you are an entrepreneur, you are a singer, you are a dancer, you're an actor, you're a politician, you want to get a word across, you got something good going on in Chicago, New York, Miami, wherever in the world, we're here to showcase you and to put you out there for people to help you out on what you're doing, all right? So that was Los, L-O-S, at Flavapodcast.com.
Hey, you guys, welcome back from that little break. We're back here, and Carlos, you want to tell them about our special guest today?
Oh, we definitely have a special guest today. He actually records at the Flava Podcast studio. He is a retired homicide detective. He is about 6 foot tall. He towers over me. And when he's around me, I feel really, really short. But I want to introduce this awesome man. His name is Mike Hammond. What's up, Mike?
Hey guys, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be here on your show.
Oh man, thank you for being here, even though you're here a lot.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with the surroundings.
Nothing new to you.
No, it's not.
Not even that mic right now.
No, I used this exact blue Chicago police colored mic before.
So, Mike, how's your week been?
Real good, thank you. It's been busy, but busy in a good way. So
You've been traveling, right?
yeah, yes, I went down to Atlanta, Georgia, to interview a gentleman, author for my podcast. Really fascinating opportunity because he doesn't do a lot of interviews. He just sold the rights to his book to a film producer in England, so it was really cool to have the opportunity to talk to him. I've gotten to know him over the years. His book that he wrote was about his half-brother who was a Chicago mobster who was murdered in the 70s. And the guy was a bad criminal, but a fascinating life. And I worked on that case a little bit when I was in the cold case homicide unit. So I got friendly with his half-brother, the author, and he gave me the opportunity to come down and interview him, so I did. It was pretty cool. So you'll be putting that together once I get you the raw material.
I will be. Okay.
As my producer.
Long nights.
Right. And then I went down to Florida, spent some time with my dad, which was awesome. And now I'm backloaded with stuff to get done, as always.
How old is your pops?
82.
82, awesome.
82, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, still doing great. It was fun to spend time with him, my stepmother, and he stresses me out when he watches the news because I don't watch the news. But other than that, it was a lot of fun.
So he of course he was living here in Chicago, right? Before?
No, actually, he grew up. He had family here. My grandmother, his mother, lived here in Chicago for a long time. Mm-hmm. The dad grew up in southern Illinois, Paris. As my grandmother used to say, she's from Paris.
Okay.
Illinois, But that's where he's from. And then he moved to Indiana, and that's where I basically grew up. Mm-hmm. So
what brought you here to Chicago?
I always had the family tie here. I spent time up here as a kid. And then when I kind of decided, I studied criminal psychology in college. So I knew I kind of wanted to go into the, criminal justice field. And then I knew I wanted to be a detective. I kind of started honing that down. And then homicide detective was like my end goal. I had no idea how to kind of get there, but I also knew Chicago sales are good, unfortunately, for homicides. And I moved up here out of college, and I've lived here since, really. And that was 1988.
1988. I just graduated from 8th grade. I was going into high school in 1988.
You're a youngster, man.
I'm a youngster. At 51, I'm a youngster. I'll take it.
Yeah, how about it?
So Mike, how long were you working for CPD?
22 years.
So, of course, you started off as a patrolman?
Correct, yep.
How long were you a patrolman before you turned into...
6 years. 6 years. And I just got lucky because detective in the city is a tested position. And they hadn't given a detective test in a dozen or 15 years. And they gave one when I had about 5 years on the job. And I studied harder for that than I did 4 years of college and for all my years of elementary, high school. And I did well and made the first class detectives in 2000. Got into homicide pretty much right away, although they don't let you work murders alone till you get some experience. And then I retired as homicide detective in 2016, so 16 years later.
Awesome. So right away, 5 years in, you started hitting those goals because you wanted to be a homicide detective, right? A detective, then a homicide detective. Yep. So 5 years in, you're really hitting those goals. Most cops take a little longer than that to become a homicide detective or a detective.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think a lot of it's pure luck, you know what I mean, timing-wise. And then one advantage I had, I think, is I was focused towards that goal. I mean, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And so everything kind of leading up to that I was doing. I started as patrolman in the 11th District, which is at Harrison and Kedzie. Used to be called the Fillmore 11th District in Garfield Park.
Oh, yeah. My first garage at Kedzie Garage for CTA.
Oh, yeah?
It's right there.
It's
right next to you guys, yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's exactly right. Across the street. And then I got the opportunity to go to a citywide gang unit. And I did that for about 3 years, and then got the opportunity to go to narcotics. Even though narcotics wasn't a strong interest for me, the investigative end of it I knew would be good for me. And then I was only there about a year when they give the detective's exam. So
that's good stuff. Trudy?
I am not familiar with too much of this. I'm like just paying attention. I would think I was 4 years old in '88.
Real youngster. Real youngster.
So I'm just like, I'm out the loop right here.
Right. It was a much different city, I will tell you. Mostly for the better now, I think. But still, yeah, it was when I first moved to the city in 1988. Like, I worked in a hotel for a friend of mine who was a legendary detective on the police department. His mother and my grandmother were good friends, and it was right off Rush Street, and Rush Street was still like what Rush Street used to be. I mean, it was at the tail end, but there were still a lot of hookers and con men, outfit guys, and Barry Moran was his name. He was a CPD detective, and he had this side job running security at these hotels, which are still there, the White Hall and the Tremont. And he knew everybody. He just knew every scam. He'd been a detective since 1971. And for me, it was like getting the master's course in everything crime, and I just absorbed it. He thought I was a Rube kid from Indiana. He loved it, and I was a Rube kid from Indiana. I didn't. I was so out of my element, but I just loved absorbing everything,
That's awesome.
It really paid off when I got in the police department. It did. But
that's awesome. So you didn't know as a kid that you wanted to be a cop?
No, but I'll tell you, when I was about 15 years old, I had an English teacher, Miss Bowman. Shout out to her. She, I was a typical 15. I was about sports and doing enough in school to be able to play sports. You know what I mean? And so she was going to make us do a book report.
I got to ask you, were you a Bears fan?
Yeah.
Why?
I was a Bears fan. I was a Chicago guy, basically. Bears, Cubs. Yeah, why is a good question.
It's been sad
because
for
of
you.
Walter Payton and
It's been real sad for you
Dick
all these years.
Butkus. Yes.
Carlos, the real question is, why are you a Packers fan?
Why am I a Packers fan? Because they're winners. I like winners. I like people that win.
Right, fair. I remember seeing the Packers shirt one day. Yeah. That's tough. That's the more immediate question. Shine that light on him. Yeah.
Packers rule. Packers rule.
They're playing well again. But, anyway, we had to do a book report. And like every, 15 or 16-year-old boy, I'm like, you know what I mean? But she gave me a book that really changed my life. Is written by Truman Capote, a book called In Cold Blood, which has been made into several movies. His story has been made into several movies. But it is the story of this family that was murdered in a small town in Kansas in 1959. And Truman Capote wrote what was kind of the first true crime novel. And he's kind of considered the godfather of all true crime. And the book was fascinating to me, and it changed the way I looked at the world. It just really did.
So you like Sherlock Holmes when you were a kid?
I did, yeah. And then I found out as a detective, it's nothing like that at all. There's no Shazam. There's none of that.
You're not walking around with a magnifying glass like, that red letter right there.
It's elementary.
It's like, what do you mean I got to type up a report? Nobody told me I was going to be reading and writing.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, I get that asked, is it like TV? Exactly like TV. If you take out all the sexy interaction, hanging out in the bars after getting a shooting.
So nothing like TV then?
Nothing like TV. Absolutely nothing. Like, I loved Miami Vice when I was a kid. I wasn't, like college age before you were born. But it was the coolest show on television, man.
Miami Vice, absolutely.
And I mean, it could not have been further from reality. As far as real detective work.
Because they never did paperwork.
No,
they jump into Ferraris. They jump into Ferraris and hang out with
big
girls.
gun battle, and then they're in a nightclub afterwards.
Yeah.
Tom's over there. Pa, 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 pa. That was
Smoking
it.
a cigarette with his alligator on his boat right after.
Job well done.
I was so disappointed. You know what I mean?
So I got to ask you.
Like, they don't have gators here.
We have crime scenes at 2 a.m. when it's like -5.
Freezing cold. Oh my God.
Yes. Not only is it cold, the body's cold too. Anyways,
Right.
what was your favorite cop TV show as a kid?
Well, I'd have to say Miami Vice. I mean, even though I was a little bit older, but it was the coolest thing ever.
Was
it? Yeah, well, because first of all, I mean, Michael Mann directed it. Michael Mann's gone on to become really famous as director and stylistic, everything's stylistic with him, like the movie Heat with Robert De Niro in it. But one of the things...
Hold on a second. Sully,
What?
do you know that movie?
Heat
Heat with Robert De Niro?
I know who Robert De Niro
I
is.
just wanted to find out if she knew the movie.
Not that
She's going to
one.
look it up later on.
I am. If the camera wasn't on me, I would have looked it up right now.
Yeah, but he's known for this very stylistic, sometimes very violent, but what Miami Vice did, it was the most expensive TV show ever made. Part of the reason it was so expensive is because he bought the rights to the original music. So instead of having, which they'd always had before, like pop songs being covered by cover bands, so they didn't have to pay for the original. Like he actually had Phil Collins, actually had Miles Davis music, actually had, and that really added this depth to it that was super cool. At the time, again, super flashy, and everybody's wearing cool stuff, everybody's good looking, you know what I mean? But still, at the time, it was. And Hill Street Blues
That's my favorite.
Yeah,
that is my all-time favorite. Me and my little brother Jose, we should stay up all night just to watch Hill Street Blues, and of course MASH at nighttime. But Hill Street Blues was always our favorite. Yeah.
That was, supposedly in the show it takes place in Chicago. I think they filmed most of it in Hollywood, but what they did film was the scene, the opening scene where they're all coming out of a police station. That's the old Maxwell Street station, which still exists. The University of UIC police use that as their headquarters now, but most of my career it was still ours. Our intelligence worked out of there. So that's where they filmed that opening scene. It was in every show of Hill Street.
So those are cop shows. What about detective shows? You got your Kojak is a cop.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes.
That's all I
did
know.
Well, you
Kojak
got
was
Magnum
a cool
PI, right?
Yeah.
He was a detective.
Yeah, he was. I wasn't. I would say Kojak was one. I always liked the more kind of gritty, a little more realistic, right? So Beretta was a little bit that way when I was young.
Heart to
I'm
Heart.
really dating myself.
Remember Heart to Heart?
I remember Heart to Heart. That wasn't my style, really.
So he has no idea what we're talking about right now.
No.
She is totally like, nah.
Right. All these are.
I can already imagine the reels you're gonna do with this.
I don't know. I might do some reels.
Most of the generation just before me, their favorite detective show was Barney Miller, and Barney Miller was a comedy.
Show,
yeah, but they always said that's most realistic. And when I watch reruns, it kind of is because it is. They're just sitting around doing reports, making fun of each other. Crazy stuff happens all the time. That is probably more realistic than almost anything else.
People get locked up right there, the cage right next to them.
Yeah,
put them
right.
in there.
Yeah. Interacting with them. So
No Barney Miller. Don't remember that.
The only Barneys I know is one's a drunk and the other one's a dinosaur.
right,
So
right.
Barney from The Simpsons.
Simpsons.
And then Barney from
I got
Barney
the
and
purple,
Friends.
the purple dinosaur.
Yeah, I have kids.
I didn't get drunk Barney.
I have kids, so I know both those Barneys very well.
Awesome. So let's say you were a kid in Indiana. What kind of kid were you?
I was all sports all the time. You know what I mean? Like in Indiana, you have to play basketball.
Were you pretty tall around it?
Yeah, I was
13, 14 years
on
old?
this. I was the MVP of my 8th grade basketball team because I was the same height then I am now.
No.
Yeah. I stopped growing in the 8th grade.
I should.
Yeah,
Let me guess. Center?
No, I was like forward. And I shouldn't have been the MVP. My buddy Brad Heyer was better than me, but it was voted on by the team. I guess they just liked me better. I still call that Brad's trophy, but it was like a kind of small town growing up. So there was sports, and that was really it. That was I also had this kind of, which proved to be apropos, I guess. I had this weird kind of fascination with, I read a lot of books about the 1930s gangsters like John Dillinger, who actually grew up only about 15 miles from where I grew up, so that might have something to do with it. And people like that, Pretty Boy Floyd and Babyface Nelson, those Depression-era gangsters, I don't know why that. And I know my dad thought, why is this interest you? You know what I mean? They're not good guys. And then when I first moved to Chicago, one of the first places I wanted to see was the Biograph Theater where Dillinger was killed. And it was, that probably, there's something probably always there. I just couldn't have articulated.
How did Dillinger die there again?
I'm sorry?
The cops came for Dillinger there.
Yeah, the
right?
FBI.
How did he die? There was a big story how he died.
Yeah, he had a woman that set him up. The woman in red, they called her. She had a red dress on. It wasn't the woman he was dating, but the woman that she was living with, or like her landlord, was I think she was from like Romania or something, but she was in some trouble with the law, and she was going to get deported. So she gave Dillinger up to the FBI, and they set him up, basically had her wear a red dress, and when they saw him walking out, they chased him down and shot him in the alley right there.
Did he shoot him in his face?
He was shot once in the face, shot a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But he wasn't an innocent man. You know what I mean? He when he heard him run up on him, he pulled a gun, and he killed people. He was a bad guy. He was a bad dude. He was also a pretty successful, for the time period, bank robber, too. I mean, everybody knows of Bonnie and Clyde. Mostly they're like Bonnie and Clyde were just rank, amateur, violent, nasty people. Not that Dillinger wasn't, but Dillinger had been taught and worked on the timing of robbing banks, practiced them. I mean, the most that Bonnie and Clyde ever got in one score was about $2,000, $2,500. Dillinger's crew hit one bank for $400,000. I mean, this is during the Depression where banks were closing down. Nobody really had any money. I'm not celebrating that, but I'm just saying he was a thoughtful in what he did. You know, he wasn't thoughtful as far as there are stories of him being in banks and people with their money, he'd say, "No, you keep your money. I'm here for the bank's money," which did happen. But it was all, it was their people. It was their money. It was their money in the bank.
He still took their money.
Keep the money in your pocket.
That's what I was going to withdraw.
We'll take your other money.
Right. Keep your $60.
I got the other $300.
Yeah, right. But it was the Depression, so people were angry with banks anyway because banks defaulted on their checking accounts, on their savings account, left people with nothing. So they were really angry which is how the FDIC started, really. And so it was easy to kind of Robin Hood a guy like Dillinger, you know what I mean, make him out to be a little more heroic than he actually was, you know what I mean. But and he hid in plain sight here in Chicago. He's from Indiana, like I said, but those days too. Not to get off on a tangent here, but there was no radios. There was very strict jurisdiction. So once you basically got outside of the state or the county, nobody could chase you or would chase you or had the radio to chase you. You know what I mean? See, these guys were all across the country. You'd be in Chicago one day and Oklahoma the next. And, so it was very difficult for law enforcement, which is also how J. Edgar Hoover kind of got the FBI financed. He basically did that on Dillinger's back, by making him the first public enemy #1 and it really made the modern FBI out of John Dillinger.
So is that a thing? Like, let's say someone commits a crime in Indiana, goes into Illinois, can they chase him inside Illinois? or they have to call Illinois and say, "Yo, he's on your side now, so you get him."
Yeah, pretty
How's
much.
that-
Well,
how's that
now
work?
with the way the technology works, you can get ahead of it.
So
Tell 'em,
Sully was speeding from Indiana into
Look, we already
Chicago.
talked about speeding all day.
right?
And then you introduce the detective. I'm like, oh man.
I haven't written a ticket. And I only wrote a few at all, but it's been a very long time. Yeah, I mean, no, it really doesn't. And it depends on the crime. These days, if it's a severe crime and you're chasing, I chased people in Indiana before. You don't really, once you cross state line, I was only a sworn law enforcement officer in Illinois. So you're basically making a citizen's arrest. But if it's somebody that just shot somebody that's wanted for murder, now you want to get the Indiana police involved as quickly as you can. And with communication, the way it is now, or Wisconsin, whatever it is, it's not really difficult to do, you know what I mean? Because everybody is often they're waiting and when they cross the line. So, we have to be careful about it.
Whose collar would that be? Would it be your collar, or would it be?
No, it'd be theirs.
It'd be theirs.
Because you do run into jurisdiction issues legally. So you can't just bring somebody back across the line. The governor has to prove extradition. So they either fight extradition or they don't. And that seems really weird. Like they could start out in, Hegewisch, Chicago, and then run into East Chicago, Indiana, just across the border. But that's the way the law is,
That's weird. So Sully would be chased by the cops. I'm using Sully a lot right now.
So it sounds like you lead a really
and if
interesting life.
their radio wasn't working, you should get away with this.
If this was 1932, you'd be in great shape.
I would have been
You
fine.
really- right.
Nowadays,
Should be giddy up.
didn't you hear we got drones scanning? They already know where I'm at.
Yeah, right. I heard that earlier. They got a drone on you already.
Well, we got the phones right here. They just
They're
track us
already
real
listening
quick.
to us. They're like, Sully's planning on speeding.
Right. Which
She's
made
at
me.
the podcast.
I hadn't paid too much attention to the drone thing, but when you said they're coming out of the sea, first thing I thought was, well, do we know there's not like a Chinese or Russian submarine like 200 yards off the coast?
Well, most places where they're being sighted is like New Jersey.
Yeah,
It's like, what's
literally,
in
that's all I
Jersey?
see in
It's
New
like-
Jersey.
Other than abandoned buildings.
I don't know.
What's
In the Jersey
Good
Shore.
question.
Oh no, they
Good
moved.
question. Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Who was this
I
guy
don't
in a house in Jersey? I don't know.
No, right. I don't even know if Bruce Springsteen's there anymore. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, unless they're in the suburbs. In the suburbs in Jersey, it gets pretty expensive. Because I know Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy, they live in Jersey, but in the suburbs out there, where it's nice and expensive.
Yeah.
But the city.
Yeah, I saw a friend of mine lived out there, showed me Springsteen's house once. It's not a small place. It's a pretty good sized castle, actually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
yeah, so that's drones are way outside of my jurisdiction. Can't give you much on that, I'm afraid.
So to get in your life a little bit more. So, 17 years old, athletic, like playing sports, smart kid. Girlfriend?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend in high school.
First girlfriend?
Yeah.
Was it in high school or was it in grammar school, your first girlfriend?
High school, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we're still friends, actually. But, yeah, we dated kind of into college, and then, college kind of fizzled out. But, yeah, I was doing all the things that, should and shouldn't be doing, I guess, as a 16, 17, 18-year-old high school kid. I wasn't a troubled kid, maybe a little bit of we were always fighting. I think sometimes but that was back before anybody's going to shoot anybody. You get punched in the face, and that was, you go home. You know what I mean? That was, and sometimes it was out of boredom. You know what I mean? You're small towns, not a lot else going on. You and your best friend get in a fight, and then 2 days later, you're best friends. Again, you know what I mean? Like, it just nobody was thinking about really shooting and stabbing each other,
So you came here to Chicago, pursued to be a police officer and whatnot. Met your wife?
Yeah. I met my wife through actually Chris Kafkas, Wells, the co-host of my
right.
podcast.
My guy, my B-boy.
His sister, who was considerably younger than me. And
Why do you say it like that? You said considerably
Oh, she's 9 years younger than me,
Okay.
and she was
That's
she's
not
pretty.
a cougar racing. That's not a cougar. What would that be? Panther?
What do they call
the
it?
cougar's
The
when
guy, I
the
think.
woman's
Cougar's a woman,
older.
right? So the man would be what?
Pervert, I think is. I don't think I'm a pervert, but no, I mean, we're she was like 22, I was 31, I think. But yeah, I mean, we're still very close. We have both kids, and we divorced about 9 years into it, but we've remained close. So
You got 2 kids.
two kids. Great kids.
I met
Yep.
one of them.
Yep.
Actually, me and Sully met
Yep.
one of them.
Yeah. My daughter is 26. My son's 22. Both out of college now. Both. I'm very proud of both of them. They work very hard. They're much smarter than their dad. So.
Has she seen Sully's commercial?
Yes. Yeah, she did. She did see it. She loved it.
Did she?
Did. Yeah.
That's
she
good because I was talking on the phone with her and it wasn't working out between me and her talking. So Sully took the phone away from me and handled the information that your daughter was giving her, and then we kicked off the commercial for her. I think it turned out pretty good.
She loved it. She really did. She thought it was awesome.
Yeah, so-
she loves you. I mean, she always communicates better with strong women than she does any man. You know what I mean? She's a tough guy.
Yeah, let her know her commercials it's running on AOP's commercials, on our commercial. It's going to be on the other new podcasters commercial, which is Created to Love. It's 2 pastors. So it'll be on there, and it'll be on Brett Townsend. She's going to be here. She's going to film her first episode this Thursday here, so it'll also be on that commercial.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we're helping her out. She did a lot for us at the podcast summit, and we appreciate it. She was the first one to say, "Okay, I'm on board."
Yeah.
Nice.
And we just want to show her love.
I appreciate it, and I know she does too. So she's incredibly hard worker. She's great with people. So it's great. I will let her know, but I'm sure she's aware. She's always 2 steps ahead. You know what I mean? She's my biggest fan and my biggest critic at the same time, which is awesome.
Word. I'm wondering what's going on in Sully's head.
Nothing.
No questions?
No. The only question I had was just being a detective. It's a draining job, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. How is that being a dad too? Having young kids, balancing work life, maybe had such a horrific crime scene or something. How did you balance taking that detective suit off and then putting that dad cap on when you're walking in through those doors?
Really poorly a lot of the time. I mean, that's a great question. It's I didn't really know how to deal with it a lot of the time. I dealt with it by watching these guys. I worked with these people, men and women, who were legends and great homicide detectives, and so I watched them. But they would tell me, don't do like in their person, don't do like us. I'm divorced. I mean, it's hard. It's so hard, and I learned to balance it over time and talking to people and finally talking to professional people, because you do reach a point, it was my dream to be a homicide detective. And I felt so lucky to do it. And then when I made it, I'm like, man, I'm going all in all the time. Mm-hmm. But about 6 months into it, I hit a wall where I was like, oh boy, how do I do this for the rest of my life? Because every day is a dead body. Every day, especially as you're training, because they send you out on everything because they want you to learn, And it's not always a murder, but we go out a lot of times on suicides and questionable deaths to determine. We have to make determination along with a medical examiner whether we think it's a murder or not. We advise the medical examiner makes final determination, right? So really that first 6 months, it was just dead body after dead body, and I hit a wall where I was just like, I didn't want to admit defeat, because it was my dream. If it's not my dream, then what am I doing, right?
Yeah.
But also, though, I just was like, I don't know how this is sustainable for a life. You know what I mean? Like, how do these guys do it? And I talked to guys I worked with. I'm always I'm a pretty frank and open person. I'm not afraid of my emotions or to share that, and sometimes some of the older tough guys would be like, oh man, but they were always respectful and were helpful, but mostly the advice was you get used to it. You get used to it. You don't get used to it really, but you do learn to adjust. And if you try and stay out of the bottle, you know what I mean, and you try and maintain the family, I think it was as hard on the kid's mother as it was me, because she's young now. Pretty quickly, we've got 2 kids and 2 dogs, and she's alone all the time. Because I go to work on a Wednesday, catch a new case, and not get home maybe till Friday. And
Wow.
and at some point, it just is exhausting for everybody, and I had no plan or idea how to deal with it really. So, really poorly is the answer. That's how I dealt with it early on. And then I just started kind of figuring it out. I mean, her finally telling me, hey, this is not a life. I can't do it, made me kind of say, okay, well, it's fair. And she's right. How do I go from them? And then with the realization that I don't want to be an absentee father. I want to be there for my kids and make time for my kids. That's when the adjustment started, where I started saying, okay, I still want to be the best homicide detective I can be, but I have to make time for the kids. And these are the days. So then I had to try and enforce those boundaries on the people I worked for. And luckily I worked for really great people that helped me make that happen. But yeah, that's part of the job that's not talked about enough. And I try and talk a lot about that when I do have the opportunity to talk to like new detective classes or younger detectives, to kind of make sure you make room for your own mental headspace or your loved ones. You know what I mean? Don't if you want this relationship to last or any relationship to last, better start building it in now.
Because that was going to be my next question. What do you tell now the new guys coming in, and if they were to ask you your advice, what younger you asked before, but I see you're doing the classes.
Yeah, and that's what I do say is like, make sure you take care of yourself. Like if you're not healthy, this is true for anybody in any walk of life, right? You can't be solid for anybody else if you're not solid yourself. Took me years to figure that out. I'm still figuring that out. Like I said, sometimes my daughter and my son keep me in line, but I try and also like, that being a homicide detective, it's a great job, and it becomes like there's a certain amount of prestige that always went with it. Maybe some of that's gone away, but you have to be careful that you don't define yourself totally just as that.
Just, let it consume your whole life.
It will, so like I coached baseball for years, coached my son's team, coached other teams, right? And that helped me I wasn't Mike the homicide detective. There was Coach Mike, you know what I mean? And there's still
It gave you another title.
Right. And there's a whole lot of kids on the north side that know me as Coach Mike. They know as a policeman, as a detective, and I'm hearing with the podcast, it's pretty cool. Sometimes I hear from some of them like, I had no idea. That's so interesting, But I'm glad they didn't have any idea. That means that it was separated out.
Because you got to have your own other connection, a personal life connection.
Right. Yep. Exactly that.
What are your gears thinking now? Now you got quiet.
I'm thinking about his first collar. What was your first collar? Not as a detective, but as a patrolman.
As a patrolman, so you get assigned to a field training officer, right? And that's an older officer who's supposed. Now they're like that's a defined position. Like you go back to the academy to get certified as an FTO, field training officer. Back then, it was just kind of assigned to more experienced officers. And my FTO couldn't have been better for me. He's a little crazy. I love him. His name is Ramon Ferrer. And Ramon, I don't say people's names on my podcast unless I've gotten permission. I have his permission because I've talked about him before. He was full speed all the time. Ramon. He is retired now, and he went into the clergy, and he is a deacon in the Catholic Church in North Carolina, works for the Archdiocese, doing investigations, trying to make sure the Catholic Church stays as clean as they're trying to get. And he's a great man, but he told me when I got in that car the first night, he goes, the only way you're going to learn is by doing it. And we arrested 11 people my first night on the street. And
11 people.
6 guys standing on the corner. First 6 guys who saw him, they were out there selling. I mean, he knew exactly what all of them were doing. I was clueless. Just 6 guys standing on the corner. But we grabbed him, and he found drugs. He said, they're all going. And arrested.
Do you have enough handcuffs to go around? It's like,
No, you don't.
I'm like, I thought I only saw one on each
everybody
belt.
hold hands. Everybody hold hands, okay?
I learned pretty
Single
quickly.
file line.
I always had two on me after that, but 2 sets. But no, you call for a wagon, paddy wagon, and I ran into a friend of mine from the academy like 6 months after we'd been on the street, and they sent him for whatever reason. They should always send new recruits, in my opinion, to busier places so you learn. And you also, I think you need to start kind of understanding other cultures if you don't already. But he got assigned up here to the 16th district, which is northwest. And at that time, it was the quietest district in the city. It's not so much anymore, but about 6 months after we got him out of the academy, I ran into him, and he was like, how many arrests do you think you've made? And I said, Pat, I don't have any idea, buddy. He goes, nah, come on. Give me an idea. And I said, 100 maybe. And he's like, you're so full of what? He'd made 3.
Wow.
3 in 6 months. And I said, well, I could show you the arrest report. I mean, all we do is arrest people. It's the 11th district. It's like, and back then, the open air drug markets in Garfield Park on midnights, we'd turn the corner. There were no TAC teams working. Narcotics wasn't working on midnights, from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. It was only patrolmen basically on the street back then. And you'd turn a corner, and there'd be 70 people in a line. And then the dope boys would come out, one money guy, one pack guy taking the money, and one guy throwing out the rocks or blows, crack cocaine back then, and blows, rocks and blows, right, and heroin, and they go through those 75 people in 10 minutes, bam, bam, bam. It was an unbelievable operation. So, I mean, we were overwhelmed. So when I say we were making arrests all the time, it was like we weren't even making a dent.
Wow. So, we're going to be wrapping this up. What is your thoughts now that you are a podcaster? You have your own podcast on YouTube, the Detective Story. Where do you want to see that go?
I like the direction it's going. I mean, we're getting more and more interest, and so I get more interesting stuff happening. I just got an email from a film producer in England who I'm going to talk to Friday, and he's a documentarian. He wants to talk to me about that. So there's a lot of, as far as the podcast itself, I mean, I like highlighting the victims, telling victim stories, victims' family stories. Sometimes it's not open cases. The ones that are open are important, and I enjoy talking about them because I'd like to see resolution, even if the case is 50 years old. But sometimes we have these victims, and they're, just because they were, bless you, thank you, just because, their life was ended tragically doesn't mean they don't have a story, And sometimes I think those stories should be told, even though the bad guy's in jail or whatever. And so that I always wanted that to be the focus. And so I just like to continue to do that. Filming here with you has dramatically changed things, I really appreciate that. Having my brother-in-law, Chris, he's a great personality.
Yeah, he is.
Takes the pressure off me to have to bumble around, you know what I mean? So yeah, just keep pushing it and hopefully do some good,
Awesome. Do me a favor, Mike. Hey, can you look into your camera, which is this one right here, and let them know where they can find you, your show.
Oh, sure. It's called Detective Story with Mike Hammond is the podcast, and the YouTube channel both is the best way. We got a website where you can interact directly with me. It's just detectivestory.net. It's that simple. And there's multiple ways to get in touch with me on there. If you got cases you'd like for me to look at or comment on anything, those are the best ways.
Awesome. So you guys heard it here at the Flavor Podcast. I am his producer, so I had to have him on and let you guys get to know him a little bit and to follow him. Do me a favor, follow him. Go to his website. Go to his YouTube, subscribe, like, and comment. Remember to comment. He's going to answer back. He's going to answer your questions if he can. If he can't, then you're not going to get your answer. That's how it's going to be. But please follow him and remember to follow the podcast network as well, the Flavor Podcast Network. Sully, any last words?
This was pretty interesting. I got to learn a lot of new things that I definitely didn't know. For a few seconds, I had to remind myself, you're in the podcast. You're not watching. I'm like, oh, wait, let me say something.
She found out about the speeding. I'm just trying to let you guys know. That's what she...
And the drones, they're watching.
Right, they're watching. I'm with you. The government says it's okay.
It's not okay.
They're literally standing in front of the White House and said, everything's all right. Everything's okay.
Don't worry.
Right.
Makes me want to panic.
Sully's saying they're coming out the water, man, like Aquaman.
Right.
TikTok, y'all. I got it from TikTok. Let me cross-reference.
Right.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say good night. Hey, we're not going to see you until next year. So have a great year. Have a great Christmas first, and then have a great year. Be safe out there, all right? No drinking and driving. If you're drinking, catch an Uber. Make sure that driver is not drinking.
Don't offer the Uber driver coquito.
Right. No coquito for the Uber driver. But please follow my guy right here, the Detective Story with Mike Hammond on YouTube. And, of course, follow us and leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing.
Hey, bye.
Thank you.